Today's show is brought to you by StickerYou.com. Brand your brew with StickerYou. StickerYou's online design editor allows you to upload and design your own custom professional-grade craft brew labels in any shape, any size, and any quantity. StickerYou. Make what matters stick.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
Hello and welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, visit homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing, and today it's just a wonderful day. I'm just so happy. We have the Director of Operations at homebrewsupply.com, Mr. Laddick Joe Ermis, as well as you can see his beautiful face down there, the return of the Chief Keg Washer and President El Jefe de Que Conexión, Mr. Todd Burns. Sir, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Oh no, man, it wouldn't. Okay.
It's a loaded question.
Well, yeah. Let me back up real quick. I'm not removing this because this is just too much. I didn't unmute you. You go through pain, you go through suffering, you're injured and out, and I invite you to do me a favor by coming back on the show, and I nothing's changed. The production value is still terrible, and I muted you. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. You know, I like the new program we're using to do the podcast. That's pretty cool. Where you can see all three of us on the screen, or I guess
sometimes
you can switch back and forth.
Yeah, we are using, it's called Zoom. So a lot of new stuff. We didn't do this on purpose. We're using Zoom because Google, in their infinite wisdom, like they always do for every service they offer, basically besides Gmail, they get people to use it, they get people to love it, and then they end it. I'm waiting, I've used Google Voice for forever, and I'm waiting on that to drastically change and ruin my life, because I'm sure it's going to. But anyway, they have it ceased to do that. So we use Skype. James and I last week used Skype, and that works for 2 people, but it wasn't that great with 3 people on. And so now we're using Zoom, and so far so good. I know, this, what you just called this grid view, is like the coolest thing in the world to you. And
oh yeah, I like that.
You are easily entertained, and I like that. But we have a good show. Before we get into it, I do need to bring up that our at the top, you heard the ad bumper. Our label contest with StickerYou ends tomorrow. Tomorrow meaning Friday, September the 30th. By end of day, by 11:59 p.m., I'm sure. I don't know. Ultimately, I think we're the judges of the stuff. So you send it in anytime by August 30th, and I'll count it in. We've got a lot of great labels. Todd, I sent you a bunch of them already.
Yeah, I actually have them on my screen right now, and I'm very, very impressed. I have to say, you were kind of neutral on them. You weren't real excited about them, and I think looking at them here, I'm starting to think maybe you're worried about part of your job is the reason.
You're right. I did. You had me going.
I'm seeing a couple here that, I don't know. Can you get me some names and phone numbers and emails on some of these people?
No, it's all Russian bots that submitted stuff. It's actually all my designs. No real person entered, because no real people listen to this show. So we don't have. I wish I had some real content for you. Sorry. No,
I'm very impressed by some of these. Some of them look really good. So
there has been some freakishly phenomenal submissions, and there's also been some on the other end of the spectrum, but we're not here to judge. We appreciate you just entering, but yes, enter in your designs by tomorrow, or whatever you're listening to this, by August the 30th, 2019, for a chance at winning up to $200 in custom printed labels. That's for first prize. Second prize is $175 worth of custom printed labels, and third prize is $125 worth. So get those in, and we'd love to see them and love to have you enter. I think the gist is like you're giving us your email, which, segueing into the next part, we sent out our first newsletter to the I forget how many were on the list. It was a lot more than we thought we would have on a newsletter list. It was like a couple thousand, and only like 80 unsubscribed. So hey, life is pretty good, guys, for Homebrew Happy Hour. You can, if you go to the brand new homebrewhappyhour.com, you can see there should be a pop-up to sign up for it. We do have our newsletter is a good source of keeping up more than just once a week on what we have going on. And we do have a lot of very exciting stuff coming up very, very soon in September. Some of which we can talk about now, not for the show necessarily, but for personal. Todd, tell us, I updated last week with James how you have 2 herniated discs in your spine or in your neck.
Which I didn't know. I guess I probably didn't know last week on the show. So yeah, I've got 2 herniated discs in my neck, and I'm going to have an operation on next Tuesday. It was supposed to be this Tuesday, but the cancellation they had uncanceled. So I've got another week of this.
Yeah, so. I am very happy that you not only joined us, but you're pretending very well. People who don't see you on a regular basis like we do. I was up there Monday and Tuesday this week helping you set up that beautiful area, by the way, that you are podcasting from.
Yeah,
I don't want to toot my
Joe.
own.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, mine. Yeah,
yours. I don't want to toot my own horn, but like, that setup is really nice. I mean, whoever did that
I'm telling you, this automated, I have a button I can push for it to either be a standing desk or a sitting desk. I was going to get one that you just pushed up and down, and James has had back problems, and he's like, yeah, dude, you're not going to want to push it up and down after you have your surgery. So I've got a motor on it, and man, it works. If anybody is looking for a stand-up desk, I've found the greatest one for like $240. Boy, it really helps. So.
Yeah, it was a lot more affordable than I thought. And fortunately, it was a lot easier to put together than I thought. But
yeah, because you had Vilver, dude.
Oh, man, you stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to say. When you have someone else helping you, and by helping, I mean I was watching.
Yeah.
Reading the instructions for him, translating them.
Exactly. He needed some translation. English is not his first language. I'd argue English is not his language at all, but he was a tremendous help, and we got that together. It took us maybe 2.5 hours to do everything from zero.
Yeah.
And that included
setting up the computer. You did a lot. You did a lot.
But that also included eating dinner. Your wife cooked an incredible meal. King Ranch.
Well, I'm telling you, it's a game changer for me. It's really helped me a lot, just having everything here. And unfortunately, I'm going to be working out of my house for quite a while now.
Yeah, you're in the barn right there. We always talk about the barn. You have to do a pan at some point. Not today.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess right now, but yeah.
You were saying driving's one of the worst things for you right now, right, Todd? Just
I drive into the office. I'm not even driving, but I've had my daughter and my wife take me. It takes about a little over 20 minutes, and about 15 minutes into it, I just want to tell them to pull over and let me walk the rest of the way. So
that's a bummer, man. I can't relate, but like a lot of people in jiu-jitsu, they hurt that neck area, and I have a bum neck already, and I'm just thinking, man, I almost feel like I'm looking into my future with you, and it's a terrifying future for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
Not just the neck injury, but for a number of reasons. But
once you hit 52, Josh, it's just like you're kind of going like this in your 20s, and then your 30s, 40s, and then it's just like a roller coaster going down when you hit 50.
Well, with my family history, 50 will be pretty close to the end. So yeah. I'll be writing out my wonder years or my golden years, rather, as they say. So yes, you have surgery on Tuesday the 3rd. So I highly doubt you're going to be on that week's episode.
I'm going to try to make it.
I would love to get loopy medicated Todd.
In the hospital.
Yeah, we'll have it in the hospital, hooked up to the IV, and that'll be great.
That will be great. Are you going to have drip, what is it, morphine, or what is it?
My dad had the same surgery, and he had a drip morphine, and I was talking to him, and he's kind of going all over the place, and my aunt was there, and she goes, Todd, you realize, right in front of him, like he could hear us, she goes, you realize he won't remember anything that happens today, tomorrow. And I'm like, really, Dad? I think you'll remember, won't you? And he's like, yeah, of course I remember. He didn't remember anything. So That'd be a fun podcast.
That will be okay. If we can get it done, I'll have Liz just hold up your phone with the Skype app, or we'll figure some way out and we'll phone you in. That no, you say terrible, terribly entertaining if you finish the sentence. Other procedures, I love bringing everything back to me, but only bringing this up because it happened to work out in the schedule. I finally got my vasectomy scheduled, and so I don't ever talk about it on the show. It kind of just came up. My wife's been bugging me about it since our last kid was born, so over 30 months. Yeah. And I am now scheduled for September the 12th. So that week we'll have to record early. And I have
offered over and over to do that for you. I don't know why you're.
There's a difference between castration and vasectomy. I don't know if you know that, because you've always offered me like, oh, I've got rubber bands and scalpels. I'm like, well, one, why do you have scalpels? But two, there's no rubber band used.
We did it with the calves when I was a kid.
That's castration. That's different. You can't.
They both. It's the same.
Serve the same purpose.
Result. Yeah, it serves the same purpose.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I had to have a laugh. Oh, well, where is that brochure? The lady, here it is. She's talking to me at the front desk before I ever see the doctor or anything. I'm in my nice Hawaiian shirt. Maybe the top button's a little, sometimes I unbutton too low. My wife will always make fun of me. Actually, Todd, you made fun of me because I look like a hipster when they're buttoned all the way to the top. And so sometimes I get self-conscious because y'all's opinions matter. And I unbutton a little too much and the little chest hair kind of pops out. So got the facial hair, got the chest hair. She takes the brochure and she's going over it with me. And she kind of looks me up and down. And then she highlights this part where, if you can read it on screen, the day of the procedure, you may have a light breakfast, thoroughly wash and shave the front of the scrotum. Look, she highlighted and put a bracket around that part.
Well, that's actually weird because when I had mine done, the nurse did it for me.
The wash or the shave or both?
The shave.
Oh, okay.
The wash and the shave.
Well,
in fact, I remember her exact words because I mentioned it at the time, and I said, it's a little awkward, and I said, this is a little awkward, I guess, to have somebody washing your
balls
parts. And we could say that on this show, right? We don't
balls. And, that's pretty benign. Yeah.
Yeah. And she said, she goes, oh yeah, it's Friday. This is ball washing day.
Did she really?
I swear. Said she came home on Fridays and her husband goes, how was ball washing day?
Wow. That's a strong marriage.
That's funny.
That's ball washing. Well, Thursday is apparently not ball washing day because I am.
Wow.
They leave it up to me to do it, which is fine. I mean, believe it or not, I do it on a regular basis. I was going to
say I think I'd prefer to do it myself, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would too. But
it's kind of a treat having somebody else.
I joked with her because I had to eventually drop trowel for the doctor, but none of the assistants or nurses or whatever they are at that kind of doctor, none of them were in there. But when she highlighted that, I kind of made the same little joke because I can't take things serious. But she goes, "Oh no, haha, we do that for everyone. Just letting you know, because some guys forget." And I told her, I said, "Well, do I need to shave it clean or can I put shapes?" And then she kind of cocked her head a little. I was like, "It's not that thick down there." My God, lady, it's not that bad. You believe me?
Funny.
Will a high top fade work?
Will a high top fade? So I don't even honestly. I don't know why I brought that up. Besides to talk about washing and shaving balls. Also, Real Ale Oktoberfest is coming up. I know we had mentioned to people, there are a lot of listeners in the greater Central Texas area. So on September 21st, if you want to come hang out, I don't think Todd will be there, but
I might. You never know. I might make it.
We'll see. And Joe, you won't be able to make it, but I'll be there. My pop will be there. I'm going to see if James wants to go. And it'll be a fun time. Real Ale Oktoberfest, September the 21st out in Blanco. What else do we have on the small talk? Oh, we got in some more swag stuff to give away. I had these buttons made. Look how nice those are, Todd.
Very nice.
Very cheap. So I had some buttons made that we're going to go out. We have next week, I'll be able to elaborate on everything, but we have a opportunity for you to get rich. All you got to do is recruit 3 people to this show. And then those 3 people will recruit. No, I'm sorry. I was going down a pyramid scheme. You can't say that word, I don't think. But we actually have some exciting stuff to announce next week about what we're launching in September. It will give a chance for us to grow this community and give more to the community that is joining up on our social media and is listening and subscribing to the show. Very exciting stuff. So we have a bunch of swag, better than just these little buttons. These little kitschy buttons are for your flare suspenders, or what are they called in Office Space? I forget, but at Chotski's
flare. Flare.
Yeah. If you want to show off your flare, we'll have it. Oh, and I happen to be wearing the shirt. We also have more shirts coming in. The one that Todd doesn't like with the huge logo. But we will have a lot more stuff to talk about next week. This week and this month was all about StickerYou and that label contest. So before we get into the show, one more thing. Joe, you had a oatmeal pail that people have been asking me about because we did that Anvil Brew Day and you were using that Kviek yeast from Imperial, and it was one that you had to ferment at like the high 80s or the low 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it ferments up to 97, I think is and kind of the target too, I think. But so we fermented it in Todd's container near the barn, where I think it's AC controlled, but it's usually you don't run the AC in there.
Well, we turned it up to like 90 degrees. So it was between 85 and 90 most of the time. Yeah.
Right. So it fermented very, very hot, relatively speaking to other normal ale yeasts. And it turned out great. It provided a pretty nice array of kind of really kind of showcase the citrusy hops that we use and really let them shine through. It turned out, nice and pale in color. And it smells a lot like pineapple juice is really what ended up coming out with. And I think that attributes a lot to the Calypso and the Galaxy hops, kind of in combination with that yeast. So, I'm happy on the way it turned out.
Where is it?
It's here at the shop.
Oh, okay.
It's on
I'll
tap.
have to try a taste of it maybe if there's any left in 3 weeks
Yeah, 3 weeks.
2 weeks maybe. I'll have to get somebody to bring me a little bit.
That's what I was just saying.
I've got another more traditional pale ale fermenting too, so sure there'll be some of that. I think a keg of that's going out to your ranch. So
no, I mean I really want to try that stuff though. I mean, maybe we could bottle one or something.
Yeah,
I want to taste it before it's all gone. Yeah, because I just want to see what it's like. Because I sat here and smelled it for a month and kept looking at it, and it just absolutely, I can't get over the concept of fermenting something at 90 degrees. It just blows my mind.
I got to try it and it was delicious. I had it on, was it Tuesday, Joe, or was it Monday?
Yeah, Tuesday, I think, right before you headed to Todd's to help set the
that's exactly what it was. Yeah, I got to try. Y'all have great beer there on tap. There was some other ones as well.
So that was Monday actually. That's when he went out to help me set everything up. So
right, but I
tried
took
it Monday and you didn't bring me.
No, because I thought he set it up there on your. Oh no, you're right. Monday. It was Monday.
It was Monday. So I didn't bring you any
sample of it. Huh?
No, I didn't. Sorry. You're on these how am I pardon me for not remembering that you will still drink beer when you're on these pills that say maybe don't mix with alcohol.
So 7 ounces isn't going to hurt, right?
Yeah, I mean that just makes the pills more effective.
Yeah.
Now you sound like his brother.
You're talking about Dr. Burns? Yeah.
Yes, the actual Dr.
Not
Burns.
not the normal regular Dr. Burns.
Yeah, your uncle Dr. Burns, I listen to all the time. Brilliant guy.
He would not approve of that.
You're right. And your father, chemical engineer Burns, would also not approve of that. But your brother, the not doctor, but he has WebMD access, has told you that's who you choose to listen to. All these brilliant Burns out there, and that's the one you choose to listen to.
And I only listen to the one that says, yes, it's okay to have beer.
Yeah. That's why every time I ever come to Todd and tell him something my doctor told me to change about my lifestyle, Todd's like, it sounds like you need a new doctor. What he means is, what he means is I just need a new yes man. But
exactly. Why seek a second opinion when you like the first,
Yeah, exactly. So overall thoughts though, Joe, on that yeast, because I know it is hot right now, and no pun intended. Like Kviek, however it's pronounced, is a brewer's choice I mean, it's gained a lot of steam. People love its versatility.
Right.
People love what it brings out in their IPA. Are you a believer? Is it going to be like a standard for you now going forward with IPAs?
Well, that particular strain it's a seasonal strain from Imperial, so it's not a mainstay. We are getting some more of it on Friday, though. Tomorrow we'll get some more in for the retail site. So I mean, I enjoyed it. The only thing is, like, yeah, it's great to do this time of the summer, but I actually feel like it's almost harder to regulate that temperature than it would be, more normal ale temperatures, which are closer to room temperature, which is kind of what a lot of times you'll have your house or a business or something. Your fermentation chamber will normally that's the ambient temperature it ferments at. Whereas, I mean, try thinking about doing one of those in the middle of winter. It's like, so I would say I do like the results and what happened and how it turned out. But I do think it's definitely something to consider seasonally, only using seasonally, just because you do want to ferment at such a high temperature.
Yeah, and we had a real. I mean, we were fortunate that I have a container with an air conditioner,
right?
That has stuff in it that you could take to 90 degrees. Because I mean,
and still be able to block the sunlight. You can't just sit it out on the porch. It's just kind of a strange.
Well, concept. And it's. I mean, here the temperature. I mean, I got up at. I've been getting up at 3 and 4 in the morning, and because I can't sleep, and we had a cold front come through, cold front, I say, and it was right at 59, 58 degrees the other morning, and that afternoon it was 102.
Right. So that's kind of my point. It's a little tough. It can be tough at least to kind of maintain a solid 95 degrees. But I do like how the beer turned out. So I will definitely try it again.
Perfect. Everyone loves it online. I'll just say we do need to try it. And that actually is a great segue, because our first question has to do with fermentation, temperature, and things like that. So let's roll right into the questions. It came from Jason, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Jason wrote, what is your guys' suggestion on the cheapest versus the best or most expensive way to control fermentation temperatures? I see a lot of videos of guys who put their fermentation vessel in a fridge, but never explain what it is or how to do it. Cheers and thanks. Joe, I want to throw it to you first, because one, we haven't published the video yet. We recorded on Monday a product showcase video, or two actually. We did one on the new Anvil temperature controller, and then we did one on the Inkbird, which has been the standard for a few years. I mean, the Inkbird has been pretty.
Yeah, I feel like it was the Johnson controller, at first, and then Inkbird released that. They have several different ones, but their main, I think, is at IC 308 or something like that. But it's their 120 volt. That's basically half the price of what you can get the Johnson controllers at, pretty much. So they really kind of took over the market, and now, like you said, Anvil's releasing one that's even a little cheaper than the Inkbird. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how well they do. We just got some in. We've got them listed on the site now, so definitely check them out and keep an eye out for the video once we're able to drop that.
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow. Todd, you use that Inkbird on to manage your keezer. What, in your opinion, with all the equipment you've used over the years, what is there a noticeable difference? Because Jason wrote cheapest versus best, most expensive. I'm going to go on a limb and say most expensive is not, like, there's not necessarily a separation between affordable and your best solution, because the Inkbirds and the Anvil are all in the $24 to $34 range, which is not a lot. Your real expense is actually going to be like in an actual container, like a chest freezer, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got to have something to control, right? So a chest freezer is a great thing to use, because they make so many different sizes of them. So you could, if you're not brewing a lot, you can get one that just holds 2 kegs. I've seen some out there that hold like 16 kegs. I mean, there's just an enormous difference in how many they'll hold. So you have a lot of flexibility there. I mean, you could use it to control any other kind of fridge, but why? I mean, it's already got a thermostat on it, right? Unless you're just trying to do it to get a little bit more precision, which it would probably give you. But yeah, it works great for a chest freezer.
Well, and for fridges too, because I mean, if you think about during fermentation, a lot of times, even for like lagers, you're going to want to ferment at like 55 degrees, for example. And so you want to even, I don't know, most fridges, like especially these older ones that you may be able to like scoop up off Craigslist or something to kind of help save some money buying a brand new one to stick beer in, so a temperature controller like we're talking about would actually help quite a bit because from my experience, there's some control inside the fridge, hot or cold, basically, like you can set it to coldest or not, but I mean, you can get actual readings, digitally reading with that probe and kind of control a little bit better for fermentation, because with beer, serving beer out of a normal size fridge, it's not a big deal because you want it about the temperature it naturally sets it to or cools to. But with fermentation, you're usually going to be a little bit higher than that. So setting it to 50 is a lot easier to do with one of those controllers. Yeah, and that brings up to that second point. Check Craigslist and Facebook Market or whatever it's called to see if you can scoop something up from somebody that's used or slightly used, and you can save some money there. I was actually talking to a customer about this. He was trying to find a kind of the most affordable solution. And one thing that I used to do before I had temperature controlling, like the conical that we have and stuff, is I always used to put a shirt over my carboy just to try and block any light coming in. And kind of during the summer, what I started doing was I have reusable ice packs, kind of like we send with our yeast, and just kind of stuffing those in between the shirt and the carboy, changing it out before I go to work. And then once when I get back, twice a day. And that seemed to help quite a bit, kick it from, 76 down to closer to 70. So
you know what? I'm glad you bring that up because you're right. I, in my industry privilege, forgot the most rudimentary and literally the cheapest way you could do it. Like James has talked about it before with me. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. He used to literally make like a bath, a tub.
Just put a fan on it.
And he had and would wrap his carboy with ice packs and fasten them somehow and just monitor the temp.
It would wet up
exactly, and just monitor that every day. Now it's a little more laborious, but I mean we're now talking under $50 solution for
and most
everything.
Of that stuff you probably already have, a simple little fan and
the ice pads are cheap. Absolutely. Yeah. So that actually, that would be one way, and maybe that would be worth doing a video just to show how to do it, because it is
how country we really are.
I was gonna say that sounds like such a pain in the ass. I can't believe really you put ice packs surrounded in a fan and change them out several times a day.
That's what James, I think that's what he did before. But James is a man of principle, and if it will save him a dime, he will spend 4 hours configuring it. Because we all know James' hourly wage is 2 cents on the hour. But I think when you don't have the equipment and you don't necessarily have the funds, you do what you got to do, and that would definitely resolve that. It's just not as convenient as, because there are levels to this. Like I jumped immediately to what I consider the lower level, which is finding a cheap chest freezer on Craigslist for $150, $200.
That's the way to really do it.
It really is. And then again, the level above that would be like what you'll have at Todd's barn behind him and up at the office at HQ, which would be a glycol, or what do they call those? Not ice bath chiller, from, the machine to your conical. Todd, what is the name of that machine?
It's a glycol chiller.
It is a glycol. Okay.
Yeah. It's basically a pump, and, it pumps glycol through the coil that sits inside the fermenter.
And so one of those conicals on the low end, we're talking like $6, and that machine on the low end, we're talking $8. And so that there are levels to this. And also, in between there somehow is, if you had the space, making a walk-in with this solution like the CoolBot, where we've had them on the show before, where you have to buy, if you have the space and you can insulate it well, then you buy a window unit, AC, and you buy this $350 dongle controller basically, and then boom, now you have a walk-in cooler that you could also, that would be an exceptional solution to managing your fermentation temperatures if you have the means of doing it. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say on the cheapest end, I think Joe kind of just validated it for me. I wouldn't go unless you're okay with changing out ice packs and monitoring the temperature multiple times per day. I mean, literally, because it'll fluctuate so much due to variable conditions like ambient temperature and ice melting and whatnot. I would say the lowest I would go would be to find the chest freezer and get a $30 or get the new anvil, because I think, what is it priced at $25?
$24.95. Yeah, it's
$24.99. Yeah.
Yeah,
$24.99.
$24.99 is a heck of a thing, especially sometimes on Craigslist, you'll find people giving stuff away. $200 seems to be that sweet point that I found in the Austin area where people would get rid of a chest freezer that would be
really
good.
$200 for a used chest. Wow.
Yeah.
A lot. You could buy a new one for that, for close to that or around that. I mean, the smaller ones are less than that.
No, right. I'm talking about, let me be clear. The 200 ones would be one that maybe could dispense 3 or 4 kegs. Like, cause we would get a chest freezer for the sake of building out a Keyser.
Yeah, I mean, if it was $200, I'd probably just buy a new one. Cause you also, the thing about the new ones too, is that unless you happen to get a fairly new one off Craigslist, the really older ones are not insulated very well. So you're using a lot more energy. And it costs a lot more to run it on a monthly basis as well.
Yeah. Well, what if that chest freezer that y'all bought from, was that Home Depot, or you bought it direct from Frigidaire or whomever?
I think it was Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did that run? That was like 8.
No. It was 400. It's huge. I mean, it holds how many, Joe?
I think 8 kegs or maybe even 10.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
huge.
it was about in the $400 range.
No, you want to bet $5? I'll take the over on 400. You take the under? I'll even give you 450. You take the under on 450. I'll take the over.
It was between $400 and $500.
Okay, so you
have to take the over on 5.
I'll take the over on 5 for a $5 bet. You think?
Okay.
Okay, we're digitally shaking our hands. Let me do here. Put your hand up. We are digitally.
He's trying to pull up the invoice now.
I'm pulling up chest freezers to look at them. I can tell you in 2 seconds here.
Oh my gosh! I mean, if I'm wrong, which is not.
Here's a 14.8 cubic foot, 448 right now.
I'm saying the one you bought specifically.
I think that's what it is.
Okay,
I mean, it's huge.
You believe me, sir. I'll have an answer for you as soon as we're done.
And another thing to keep in mind too, when you're buying one for fermentation container, that's all you're using it for. You don't have to worry about. Well, you may still want to build a collar, but you don't have to worry about buying 3 or 4 shanks, all the tubing, all the CO2. So you're going to save a lot of money if you're just using it for fermenting. It's
real good point.
Full blown Keyser.
But you do want to make sure you have clearance for your airlock and all that, which should be pretty standard on any chest freezer.
You have to be a little careful though. That one that's at Todd's, they put like a 2x12, maybe 2x8, but it seems like 2x12. So when I did a lager in there with 2 carboys, and I had a heck of a time fishing those carboys back out, just because it comes up. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
it's
the one at my house with the collar on it's so small.
Yeah,
you could not, and it'll fit 3 kegs, but you can't ever get them out again. Like they're there forever.
Yeah. Well, imagine the 2 carboys I had in there. I think Zach or somebody walked in the room and they could just see my feet. I was full in, just my feet were dangling, trying to pull the car.
Well, I would have pushed on those feet and closed the door. I guarantee you.
A wonderful boss he is. Jason, thank you for submitting the question. We got one more. Moving on to question number 2, submitted by Bobby, who also used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. And reminder, putting the little thing down right here, you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Bobby wrote, first, let me start by saying how much I love the show. I started listening about 7 months ago and have learned a lot about brewing and kegging great beer. These Perlet flow control faucets have been the best move I've made in my early brewing career. Yes, flow control is life-changing. I'd also like to say I hope Todd is feeling better. If he hasn't already, I encourage him to see a physical therapist about his neck. I should know. I am one. I should have gotten you connected with Bobby before this weeks ago. I'm sorry, Todd.
No, that's right. This is, I think that physical therapist or chiropractor is really good on a lot of things. I think when it's actually a herniated disc, then you're at the point where you have to,
or after the surgery, to like recover, to kind of build that stuff back.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to get some mail. I brought up chiropractor.
Well, my doctor loves chiropractors. I mean, he loves
he's
them.
a DO. I brought up chiropractor.
And he immediately when he looked at the scan, he was like, "Whatever you do, don't go to a chiropractor."
Yeah, I brought up chiropractor last week in also a very benign way. I was just saying I don't go to them because I'm terrified I'll be in the point whatever. And I got mail from both ends of. I didn't realize chiropractic was such a hot topic, but
Yeah.
I got a lot of emails. It was enjoyable. And now you just grouped physical therapists and chiropractors together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get emails about that. Thanks, Todd. Anyway, his question: what advice can you give on taking your beer with you away from a kegerator to be able to share it? Can you transfer beer from a keg to bottles, growlers for easy travel? Are there other options I'm missing? There's a lot of end of summer events coming up, and I'd love to be able to bring a sampling of my homebrew along to show off. Thanks for your help and keep up the great work with the show. We have talked about this before, so we don't have to drone on, but I did want to mention, because we just published Todd's video you actually filmed it a few months ago, but we just published it at homebrewhappyhour.com, how to build a jockey box in 7 minutes or less. It's been well received. That is definitely the more elaborate solution if you were going to an event and had maybe you could do a one faucet jockey box, and that's fine. It'd be a very elegant way to share it. That's a lot more stuff to have to carry, but at the simplest, I think we would agree. I mean, there's no problem if I'm going to go to my pop's house later this afternoon, going back to that kegerator and filling up my growler straight from it, right?
Yeah, no issue at all there. I mean, the only thing you want to think about is how long, how quick is that beer going to get drank? You want to really kind of want to try and drink whatever you fill that day. But
Yeah.
if you're looking to like gift a couple beers to a friend that may not drink them that same day, they may sit in the fridge for a week before he drinks them. You may want to look at something else, like Blickman makes a beer gun. It's called the Blickman beer gun. And what that does is that you hook it up to your CO2 and then to your keg. You basically purge your bottles with CO2 before you fill them with that beer gun. And then you purge right at the end, and you cap them. And that's going to make sure that they don't go flat. They don't get aerated by oxygen. So that's definitely a better way if you're going to anticipate not drinking that beer, whatever you pour out of that keg that same day.
I always wonder if I have I've shared growlers, and people will ask me, wow, what's the shelf life on this growler? And I usually tell them 2 days. Like I said, drink it today, and don't let it go past tomorrow night, just for I don't know where I got that rule of thumb from, but is there some formula, Mr. Burns, where it is like the pressure, the PSI of the container before the CO2 is lost and it goes flat and then it's not worth drinking? Or is there just some rule of thumb like that? Like, hey man, really 40.
My rule of thumb on that is never, ever procrastinate on drinking beer. So drink it all right away.
That's a good rule. Yeah. I thought you normally sometimes have science behind you, but that's just a feel good rule. I like those. We, besides growlers, I mean, like you said, Joe, you can use that Blickman beer gun. It's a wonderful tool. We have one there in the brew room, I believe.
Maybe upstairs.
We do have one. I don't remember. We got one somehow. It was
the version 1, I think it is.
I think, we had like a customer returned something and we ended up with it. And John or Doug basically said, yeah, y'all keep it and try it out. I don't remember the specifics, but
have you, or has anybody tried it out?
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, but we used to call one of our products a beer gun. And I actually got a letter from John Blickman. He was threatening to send Doug and Tom up to take care of me if I didn't remove it. So.
That's a scary bunch. I've drank with them. That's a scary bunch.
You don't want to mess with those guys.
Yeah, they're about their drinking, aren't they?
They are. They'll come put the old good beat down on Mr. Burns. Yeah, I remember that because we had just done an ad for CM Becker, a print ad, and John couldn't be nicer, but he did write and goes, I don't know if you remember how copyright laws work, Mr. Burns, or something along our trademark or something along those lines. And we're like, oh hell, because in Europe it is called the beer gun.
We've called it the beer gun forever, So
it's a race to the trademark office.
John was extremely nice about it, and I appreciate him giving me a heads up before he before he sent the boys down. So yeah.
And this, to be clear, because it came up because we're talking about the beer gun. This is a faucet solution that would actually be great if you did go like a Jockey Bots type route, or not even Jockey Bots. If you just went the old school, take your whole keg, you want to put it in a trash can with ice.
Yeah.
This event,
Is it
the event faucet, and that's what it really works well for. Back to his question. That would work really, really well for this. I don't think you would want to use it with the jockey box at all. You want to use it by itself because you don't want to restrict it before it gets to it.
Right. In lieu of, you're right. In lieu of a jockey box, like this would be, hey, or even people who don't have maybe the time or the means to want to make a jockey box, you already have your keg. Trash cans are dirt cheap. Ice is cheap. You take it with you. As long as you keep that ice full, this flow control solution faucet, and it looks like the old bar guns, basically. I mean, just because of that big restrictor that's inside of it, you are going to be able to dispense your beer appropriately, even if you lost some temperature, heat on taking your keg to the event or whatever. In a growler, it is very limited time space that you have the solution. You can bottle, like we said, from your keg using like the beer gun from Blickman, TM insert there. You can take your beer to go from bottles. I'm trying to think, a listener sent me an Amazon link to one of those pressurized growlers recently and asked me my thoughts. I have no experience on it. Joe, I mean, I'm with Todd in regards to, if I have a growler, I don't want it sitting around for a while. I don't personally see the benefit of having a pressurized growler because I want to drink that beer or share that beer all in that moment. I don't want to have any left over to need pressure. What are your thoughts on a pressurized growler?
I think they're really sweet. I would love to have one. I just don't have the money for it. I think the real benefit to having one, especially like where you live or you're living in Austin, something like that, you could go get it filled at the growler room or the growler bar, whatever it's called. There's a couple up there, and they'll have beer from all over especially the state, but all over the country. They'll have really good beer on tap, and sometimes you can't find that beer here bottled. So it is nice to have a pressurized growler. You can bring it home, and you don't necessarily have to drink it within the first couple days. So,
Todd, any thoughts on pressurized growlers? We've never as a retailer carried them, but that's usually because these companies have their own sale front. It's not from lack of interest, but do you think in your drinking habits that you'd have any purpose for a pressurized growler?
It only holds like most growlers, I think, hold 5 beers or 64
ounces.
Yeah, so 5 beers, right?
Yeah, half a gallon.
Yeah, so no, I don't need one.
Like, why would I do that? I've got 3 delicious. Yeah, when I came up there, Todd was not drinking. I think we shared an Oktoberfest, and you barely had any of it. By shared, I mean I pitied you and I poured you a little.
I joke. We're joking about it, but I'm really not drinking with painkillers. That's not a good idea.
No, I know. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I like that. Our sarcasm's way too dry. Thank you for clarifying that. People are going to listen and go, man, that guy, I'm really worried about that. Todd Burns. No, he wouldn't drink with me. I'm a bad influence, even worse than Todd is on me. And I tried to get him to drink, but he wouldn't as much. But I had all that delicious beer on tap. You had still that blonde alt. You had the Comanche Kolsch, and then you had that German lager. And I had plenty of that, but I don't know if my heart's changing right now. But Marzen's Oktoberfest, I'm sold. Like I had that Shiner Oktoberfest. It wasn't Shiner. It was Altstadt from Fredericksburg. You had, I guess, a case, or was it a 12-pack in your fridge? I think you had a 12-pack, and I left you with a few. I think that's what it was.
No, that's not a. You make it sound like that's something that's out of the ordinary.
Exactly. I'm spoiled. My wife asked me if I'm bummed because I come up there and a lot of what I enjoy is sitting out on your porch with you, and we're enjoying drinks and smoking cigars, and you've had to be you've had to take it easy lately. And she said, oh, does that bum you? I was like, no, he goes to bed earlier. Are you kidding me? This is great. Like I get the view is impeccable. I get to sit out there in silence. There's worse things, honey.
You don't have to listen to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Charlie's good. Charlie's good company too.
Charlie is great company. I had a blast. But anyway, Bobby, thank you so much for submitting your question. Guys, that does it for this week.
Hold on. I have one more thing.
Go for it.
So I did the math calculation on the Frigidaire for $448 at Home Depot. It is 55 inches wide and the depth of 29 inches. With my calculations, with a standard keg, it would hold 3.62 kegs. If you they call it wide, I would call it the length. And then on the what I would call they call it the depth, that would hold. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. It would hold 3.69. The other one would hold 6. 55 inches would hold 6. 29 would hold 3. So that's 9 kegs for $445. And if you could just kind of let me know how you're going to get the $5 to me.
No. Hold on. The bet was what you bought, because I'm convinced I can go smudge the numbers in the back end and make it look like you paid $501.88 or something. Because the bet was what you spent on that fridge.
I paid less than $500.
I know that's the bet. So we're going to see. And if I'm wrong, I'm cutting all this out and we're going to have a bunch of awkward cuts because I've been talking about it too much. Anyway, thank you, Todd. I especially really appreciate you taking the time. I know it probably is going to be at least another 2 weeks before we have you back on. Unless, of course, Liz plays along and puts you in front of a camera so we can get you on next week, but I won't hold you to it. And Mr. Ermis, thank you so much for your time, my friend.
Thank you.
We will do this again soon, and that will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on the Submit a Question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsor, StickerYou.com, for supporting our podcast and the home brewing community. Enter our label contest right now. You've got 1 day left. homebrewhappyhour.com/contest for a chance at winning $200 in printed custom labels. Runs now through the end of tomorrow. On behalf of Lad and Joe Ermis, Todd Burns, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.